Cultural practices evolve over centuries. The cultural heritage of Pakistan, in all its rich diversity, should be seen as an instrument to enhance the quality of life and improve society. Cultural mapping is based on the premise that efforts at saving cultural heritage cannot keep pace with the process of deterioration. This will ultimately lead to the loss of invaluable assets to the country. In losing cultural heritage, we are, in fact, losing our appreciation of cultural diversity.
The history of Northwest Frontier Province is thousands of years old, and we've had centuries-old external influences in different cultures. And this culture has had the capacity to absorb the best ingredients from many external influences. I think this UNESCO-sponsored exercise of cultural mapping is very important because we've seen in recent years we've lost many important landmarks, many important heritage sites. And these are part of our culture, and culture is all about identity. And I think it's very important that we preserve it. And the first step in preserving it is documentation.
But I'm very, very happy that such an initiative has begun here, which I think ultimately should enable us to rediscover our past, rediscover our history, rediscover our culture, and bring the brighter and the nicer aspects of our diverse culture to the forefront. And I think it can play a great role in bringing the true perspective, the true cultural beauty of this place.
UNESCO's cultural program aims at creating a nationwide grassroots movement for the conservation of traditional cultures, their practices, arts and environments within the context of sustainable development.
ما دا اوریدلی دي چې مصر چې کوم دی د هغې اکانومي چې دی نو 70% هغې ته د هغې هغه تاریخي اثار چې دي هغه کنټریبیوټ کوي. نو ولې نه چې د سوات تاریخي اثار او چې بیا هغه د بود منونکو ته چې په هغې کې ښه شتمن ملکونه دي هغې سره ولې دا رابطه جوړه نه شوه چې هغو او دلته راغلی وی د هغو دلته یو ټیمپل وی دا ځایونه به موږ له پرزرو کړي ومو کنزرویشن به هم شوی موږ له په سوشل سیکټر کې کارونه هم کړي وو زموږ به لینکس جوړ شي نو زموږ به دنیا ته سافټ ایمیج ته نه چې اوس دا زموږ د میلیټنسي دي. نو زه دا وایم چې زموږ په وطن ټوریزم او زموږ چې تاریخي کومه سرمایه ده کوم چې زموږ ثقافتي سرمایه ده دا دواړه دا دی چې یوازې د مهذبې دنیا سره موږ مهذب شمارولی شي خو د هغې سره دونه زیات د دې نه آمدن لارې چارې چې دی نه رایستی کړي شوي دي چې زموږ دا بېوسي یا غریبي چې کومه ده نه دا به کمېدی شي.
Cultural mapping embraces a wide variety of techniques, ranging from community-based participatory methods for identifying and documenting local cultural resources, to the use of innovative and very sophisticated information tools like Geographical Information Systems, or GIS. GIS not only facilitates classification of cultural assets, but also produces far-reaching maps that show the rich variety and extent of a country's cultural heritage.
That if a tourist comes into Pakistan, even for a common man, even in this country, he doesn't know how much heritage sites are there at a particular place. If you see, for example, in Tehsil Mansehra, there are perhaps over 200 or 300 heritage sites. Who knows it? Nobody knows it. And if you go on in the field to collect all that information, then how to document it so that it is easily accessible not only to the local community inside Pakistan, but it should also be available on the web so that our international tourists coming to Pakistan can have access to these sites. The best possible way we thought of to integrate all that information for every heritage site was to choose some kind of technology which can effectively be used for this purpose. And from our experience, we have seen that the technology which we generally call GIS, which stands for Geographical Information System, is the most effective so far. And the most interesting part of all this mapping activity is that it is not only the intangible, it is not only the tangibles which we are mapping, we are also mapping the intangible part. For example, your folk dances, your crafts, your souvenirs. But for intangibles, we are also collecting the videos, audios, and pictures, all the three.
During the cultural mapping process, we identify all the cultural assets, tangible as well as intangible, and then we can prioritize these assets as, you know, the endangered ones, those in good condition, or those that need to be revived. So whenever we make an action plan, or whenever the government makes an action plan, or maybe when the community thinks about reviving their traditions, they will think about those that are almost that are endangered or almost dying out. So these can be used as tools for development.
हमने पूरे मानसेरे की सर्वे शुरू की है। अब तक हमने 7 यूनियन कौंसिल मुकम्मल किए और इन 7 यूनियन कौंसिल में हमने तकरीबन 75 पुरानी आसार दरियाफ्त किए हैं। लेकिन जो सबसे ज़्यादा आसार हमें मिले हैं वो यूनियन कौंसिल लसा टकराल में है।
ये भी 2000 साल पुराना है। ये जो कुआं है, इसमें ये जो पानी अभी भी लोग हैं पीने के लिए यूज़ करते हैं, इसको नहाने के लिए यूज़ करते हैं। मीन्स कि ये कुआं अभी भी इन यूज़ फॉर्म में है।
The cataloguing and mapping of cultural resources has become imperative. It is important to bring culture to the core of the development programs and activities. Cultural mapping serves as a valuable repository for local knowledge and resources. It is crucial to document local traditions and historical sites which are quickly disappearing and deteriorating at an unprecedented level. More information and the development of cultural resources will contribute to social cohesion and respect for cultural diversity in the region. Cultural mapping is not about getting information and moving on. It is about helping people without a voice to reveal and record the charm and wonder of their world. The involvement of the general public, including women and youth, is important in safeguarding Pakistan's endangered heritage, lifestyles that are centuries old and unique value systems.
फिलहाल तो हम सिर्फ इस सिलसिले में आए हैं कि यहाँ पे जितने भी आर्कियोलॉजिकल साइट्स हैं उसको जो है आइडेंटिफाई करें और उसको जो उसकी जो कंडीशन है वो देख लें कि वो इंडेंजर्ड है, वो प्रिजर्व है, वो औकाफ के पास है, वो गवर्नमेंट के पास है या कल्चर डिपार्टमेंट के पास है और उसका ख्याल रखा जा रहा है नहीं रखा जा रहा है, ये प्राइवेट प्रॉपर्टी है और उसको इस्तेमाल किया जा रहा है, फंक्शनल है या फंक्शनल नहीं है और सिर्फ आइडेंटिफिकेशन फेज है। हम किस सिलसिले में आए हैं।
जितनी भी साइट्स हैं उनको इम्पॉर्टेंट एसेट्स हैं, जितने भी टेंजिबल हैं इनटेंजिबल हैं, उनको हम आइडेंटिफाई करेंगे। आइडेंटिफिकेशन उनकी प्रॉपरली होगी, फिर उसके बाद उनको हम एक प्रॉपर फॉर्मेट है, एक फॉर्म है, उसमें हम उनको प्रिजर्व किस तरह करेंगे जी, उनकी GIS जो है उनकी थ्रू सारी रीडिंग्स और सब कुछ लेके फिर उनको प्रॉपरली पुट अप करेंगे डेटा और थ्रू GIS और उसके बाद हम उसको टेक्निकली मतलब ये है कि वी कैन एक्सेस द डेटा एनी टाइम व्हेनेवर इट इज़ रिक्वायर्ड।
और फिर जो उसके बाद का स्टेप है विच इज़ द मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट स्टेप टू प्रिजर्व ऑल दीज कल्चरल एसेट्स, हमारा जो ये असासा है सकाफत का, हमारे कल्चर का, इसको महफूज करना है.
There is an increasing recognition of the need for community involvement in conservation and preservation of cultural and natural heritage. Through generations, communities have developed traditional resource management systems. With this unique knowledge, skills and traditions, they have much to contribute to the appropriate, sustainable management of their culture and environment.
تاریخ دی و نخرابه آب خکی کوشش من خلق پاکستانی خرابو و خرابول ندی پکار تعالی ما دبل وطن نیم لذیذیم شخور زمون کلمات کی داسې ځایونه شته تاریخي کنه چې هغه خلق خرابوي ورانه یې نه دا د چا تاریخ دی دا به یادګار ساتي یادګار ټول عمر.
One of the objectives of the cultural mapping exercise is to build capacities of institutions with the aim to enable an environment for empowerment and livelihood generation, and above all, to highlight the value of culture in the development process. Cultural legacies that were handed down under the care of local communities face the threat of extinction. Only through recognizing the importance of these practices, reviving them in local communities, and passing them on to future generations, can the well-being of the cultural and natural resources be sustained for the years to come. By making the invisible visible, cultural mapping provides valuable insights into diverse people, history, identity, knowledge, thereby advancing the spirit of cultural pluralism.
शादी ब्याह में जब कोई बारात लेने आते थे यहाँ पे तो उस वक्त डोली उठाने नहीं देते थे ये लोग जब तक ये पत्थर न उठाते. तो अरशद खान आप ट्राई करें, कोशिश करें, तो अगर आप उठा सकते हैं तो.
यहाँ पे आने का मकसद हमारा ये है कि हम लोग इस गांव के कल्चर के बारे में जान सकें कि यहाँ पे क्या रिवाज आम है और यहाँ पे क्या लोगों का रहन सहन है.
शादी में ये करते हैं, डाम डोल बजाते हैं, लड़की को जेवर पाते हैं, जहेज देते हैं, अच्छी तरह शादी करते हैं.
इसको गाना बोलते हैं और ये हाथ से बना हुआ है और ये शादी के मौके पे दूल्हे के हाथ पे बांधा जाता है.
This empowerment can lead to the economic revitalization of a community as they consider how to manage these resources. Mapping out cultural resources, knowledge systems from traditional arts and crafts to agricultural practices are unveiled and made known to the community and to others. Old indigenous practices and skills may be learned, revitalized and applied in new creative ways for sustainable community development.